morning, good afternoon, good evening. The gentleman on the screen is one of the war veterans leaders who have come out and condemned this Mnangagwa dictatorship. Last time we saw him, he was trying to give a press conference, and the ZANU-PF thugs disrupted the conference, and one of the thugs took away his cap in a humiliating kind of way. It is nice to see that he is back and he has given this interview. Let's just listen to what he had to say.
Fellow countrymen and women, comrades in arms, brothers and sisters of the soil, today we stand before you not only as war veterans but as the eternal custodians of the liberation of this great nation, Zimbabwe. We address you at a time when the very foundations of the Republic, built on the blood and sacrifice of our fellow freedom fighters, are under siege. The Zimbabwe we fought for brick by brick, trench by trench, and with every ounce of our strength, was envisioned as a sovereign republic grounded in the rule of law, justice, and democratic governance. Today, that Zimbabwe is imperial. We declare today that the office of the president has been desecrated. We, the liberators of this land, have reviewed the facts and come to one undeniable conclusion. The individual clinging onto power, onto the title of the highest position in this land, has long since vacated the office, and the moral, constitutional, and revolutionary obligations entrusted in him. The president has abandoned his role. We have witnessed with heavy hearts how Emerson Mnangagwa has subordinated his duty to the nation in favor of criminal enterprises, corrupt syndicates, and unconstitutional acts that now bring shame to the flag we hosted in 1980. A president who abandons state house to personally install convicted criminals into traditional institutions is no servant of the people, but an accomplice of lawlessness. A president who sponsors armed robbers to defraud both Zimbabwean citizens and foreign investors to the tune of millions has tarnished the office. A president who silences, persecutes, and seeks to liquidate fellow comrades, such as Comrade Constantino Chiwengu and his wife Mary, using the very tactics of our colonial oppressors, have betrayed the liberation struggle. Enough is enough. We, as the veterans of the liberation war, reject the recklessness and abandonment of Zimbabwe's constitutional order. We reject a leadership that kneels to criminality and external manipulation as evidence that the continued shadow of Rhodesia-era cooperatives who still seek to undermine the revolution from within. We invoke the spirit of Chitepo, Tongogara, and Joshua Nkomo. Our gallant heroes didn't lay down their lives for Zimbabwe to be reduced to a playground of fraudsters, gold mafias, and violent cabals. The silence from state house in the face of these crimes is an indictment of a leader who no longer belongs to the people, but to criminal syndicates. We, the war veterans, as custodians of this nation's revolutionary heritage, therefore make the following pronouncement. The president must agree to be escorted out of his destination of choice. Emerson Mnangagwa has forfeited the moral right to lead this country. He has placed self-preservation and personal enrichment above national duty. Parliament must act. We call on Parliament to immediately move to impeach Emerson Mnangagwa as provided for under Section 97 of the Constitution. The threshold has been passed. Delay is complicity. The armed forces must remain loyal to the Constitution. We remind our comrades in uniform that their loyalty lies not within individuals, but with the people of Zimbabwe and the Constitution that governs us all.
Can stop it there. It is a mouthful. Ben, what do you think?
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. Yes, I agree with you there to say it's a it's a mouthful that he has outlined there, and it's very true. This is what we are seeing in Zimbabwe, that the president's office has now been the hub of criminal syndicates. But what our dear elder is failing to state is that this is not just the president's office. ZANU-PF is rotten to the core. They are the source of our problems. It's just not one individual that is corrupt, that is running the country down. The whole organization must be mentioned. Calling out one person is not enough. Because we can see from all even the corruption cases that have been brought forward that it is just not one person. Yes, one person is the leader, but there are individuals, there are groups of thugs and criminals within the organization. So for me, fighting one person will not do, because we've been down that road before. We took off Mugabe, saying that he was surrounded by criminals. But funny enough, Mugabe was the only guy that was removed and the criminals remained. ZANU-PF is rotten to the core, and we must get rid of it entirely. That is what he should have said.
Well, I enumerated the problems here into four. The first one is that as much as what he's saying is true, he is not addressing the real root cause of the problem. Number one, he is saying this about Mnangagwa. After 45 years of this ZANU-PF tyrannical rule, he has never said it before. Two, he, as one of the war veterans, he cannot deny that he was part and parcel of the team that imposed ZANU-PF on the nation, the one-party dictatorship, and they've sustained it for all these years. Three, we cannot pretend that what he's offering is a solution. He is offering that if this so-called uprising should succeed, Chiwenga will take over. That is utter nonsense, because we've been down this road before. In 2017, we replaced one dictator with another. And he, as one of the war veterans, supported Mnangagwa taking over. And now he's supporting another dictator taking over. Who doesn't know that Chiwenga is corrupt and is part and parcel of this corrupt regime? To Zimbabweans out there, think for yourself. If Chiwenga was to get into the presidency, he will be no different from what Mnangagwa did in 2017. Because we all know But as soon as Mnangagwa got into State House, his number one priority was to consolidate his hold on power. He went on to rig the 2018 elections. Can anyone tell me out there that Chiwenga would implement democratic reforms so that the next elections are free, fair, and credible, and he will risk losing power? Of course, he will never do that. That is the problem here.
I agree with you. It's impossible for somebody, once you've, just getting into power and then all of a sudden you're going to, risk losing that power by, implementing reforms to see free and fair, and credible elections. We all know ZANU-PF will never win under such conditions. Whether it be, Chiwenga or whoever is in power, they will lose because people are tired of ZANU-PF, right? But we must also state that since independence, it is the war veterans that have always placed their candidate for us. They have gone out of the way of, dictating who goes in next. At independence, they said if Mugabe doesn't win, the Bush war will continue. 2017, they did the same thing. We want Mnangagwa, Mugabe must go. Nobody chose except them. Here they want to come the third time, and they have their candidate once again. That is not democracy. You cannot be preaching something that you're not doing yourselves. The Zimbabwean people have, their own choice and free will to choose who will govern the country. It is their right. It is their democratic right to choose who will govern Zimbabwe. Not every time you get upset, you say, let's go and get this guy. And we are just supposed to be, foot soldiers to do your bidding. No, that's not how it works. And I say to whoever wants to participate, you are participating knowing fully well that a candidate has been chosen for you. Secondly, you have given away your right to choose. So therefore, tomorrow you should not cry foul when ZANU-PF does what ZANU-PF does. And that is rigged elections. And that is continue their corrupt ways. We can never wish this to go away. We can never wish this to go away by, these funny schemes to say, let's just get rid of this and get rid of that. The problem is bigger than that. Let us uproot the problem. And the problem is ZANU-PF.
I'll just play a short clip to remind some of the listeners out there that the war veterans, as far as they are concerned, the solution is Mnangagwa must go and be replaced with Chiwenga.
Saka munowina sei imuchorerwa chinje
aiwaga ndinani kutaurire imwe zvinhu zvinoitika hani ndiri kutokutaurira kutaudza kuti hatina kupusaka because ndiri kutokutaurira kuti tozviziva takapusaka ndisikakutauriri zvese we'll deal with this situation at the appropriate time but ndiri kutotaura kuti commander vaMnangagwa right navaChiwenga handidi right ngavadissolve polity bureau tikwane isu varidzi vechunhu ngavadissolve cabinet inozinana kazembe vana soda, vana hapo tuta vani kupaniwa. Vana kamba muda, vana, you know, why do you hate your comrades? You know, kunema general, kunema retired CIO wakawanda, kunema retired commissioners of police and other senior officers wakawanda. Haladiwe.
Maybe the president is looking at capacity and capability.
Bullshit. Vana muta grade 7, and capacity and capability. Grade 7. You know, what a beast you're going. Now I was Minister of State, Mangwana Provincial Minister. It's terrible. It's terrible. We are not apologetic about it. Till it. Turn out of Pinda, not out of the president, one was motor, one about you don't have a bodyguard in.
But you've got your own cars. You've got a hotel at your house that you built in Sanyat. Why do you want all this?
I want to be rewarded as well. Not to be used like a political condom all the time. I'm not a political condom. And urkoda wanama hiya waya na wama.
This is the bottom line. Zimbabwe, when we waged the armed struggle, we should have asked ourselves, what kind of leaders will the armed struggle throw up? Are those the kind of men and women we would want to lead independent Zimbabwe? We did not ask ourselves that question. And we've paid for it dearly. 45 years after independence, we still find ourselves with the kind of leaders that the armed struggle threw up, who have no regard for freedom, justice, equality, all those values that we valued during the armed struggle. They betrayed all that. All they want is power. Chunichang. They've been ruling for 45 years. And still some, even those who have benefited, still feel that they have not been rewarded enough. The problem is we have leaders who were thrown up by the armed struggle, who are now holding the nation to ransom. Swapping one dictator for another is not solving that problem. Indeed, it's only kicking the can down the road. In 2017, the pressure was building up for Mugabe to go. A group of those ZANU-PF thugs came together and offered the nation that we will change, give us another lease of life. And the people made the mistake of doing that. And 8 years down the line, we realize nothing has changed. If anything at all, Zimbabwe is even worse off than it was during Mugabe's days. And now another group within ZANU-PF are offering another solution, which if we endorse, we will give it another lease of life. Because if 31st March is successful, make no mistake about it, the minute Mnangagwa walks out of State House, Chiwenga is walking in. And once he is in, all those war veterans who supported him would want him to stay for another 8 years. So another 10 years, because he definitely would want to serve the full maximum 2 terms. So we will have given the dictatorship another 10 more years. Do we really want to do that? Have we learned nothing from history? The problem is not swapping one dictator for another. The problem is dismantling the dictatorship itself. If Comrade Blessed Geza and all the other war veterans are coming forward to offer the swapping of one dictator for another, we have to stand up to them and tell them in no uncertain terms that that is not the solution. And we are not going to support something that only seeks to give another lease of life to this dictatorship. Let's focus on what needs to be done, i.e., to dismantle the de facto one-party ZANU-PF dictatorship. Thank you very much. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks?
I agree with you there to say finding democracy, that is the key answer to our problems. And unfortunately, all, the comrades that have come, the war veterans that have come and spoke about this 31 movement and the way forward for Zimbabwe have not spoken about the people or the children of Zimbabwe having a say in who governs their country going on after Mnangagwa. They have simply just made their choice in their houses or in their meetings, and they have come and they have placed it on us, and we have not been able to make a choice. And we have not been able to make a choice since independence. This is what they have caused. The war veterans, they have caused ZANU-PF, and they have imposed ZANU-PF on us. Enough is enough. If there is no way forward in us having a say, then they should fight their own battle themselves. That should be our condition to them, and that should be our answer for us to participate in the 31st of March movement or uprising. We have to be clear that we want our conditions met as well. Otherwise, fight the battle yourself. That is what I got to say. Thank you.
Before I go, I'll just comment on Big Boy Moyo's comment there that's on the screen. I'd like to reiterate the position here. In 2017, the people supported the November 2017 coup, thinking that that will remove ZANU-PF dictatorship. They were shortchanged. It removed Mugabe only to replace him with Mnangagwa. Some people, at the time at least, argued that yes, that is better than nothing. Well, it was actually not the case. Because, like I said, the pressure to remove Mugabe had been growing and increasing. The people, if they had retained their own course of demanding democratic changes, they would have got there. What ZANU-PF, what Mnangagwa and company did is undermine that thrust by saying to the people, listen, we'll remove Mugabe for you. And we'll stamp out corruption, and we'll hold free, fair, and credible elections. And people believed that. Only for Mnangagwa to abandon that. All that happened, like Ben said, was to remove Mugabe and a few others around him and replace him with Mnangagwa. And the dictatorship continued. we should not be sidelined again. If you seriously think that the 31st March uprising is to remove ZANU-PF, then you cannot be more wrong. It's to remove Mnangagwa and a few around him and replace him with Chiwenga, a ZANU-PF through and through. He has no intention of implementing meaningful democratic reforms, and he will not stamp out corruption because all those around him expect to be rewarded for their blind loyalty to him. We are only going to repeat the mistake we made in 2017. That is the point. I think you don't have to be a professor in political science to understand that 2017 accomplished nothing. And it was a mistake for people to have supported it. We should not repeat the same mistake. That is the point that I would like to make, and that must be understood and must be repeated to the people of Zimbabwe again and again until we understand and stop it. We are our own liberators, but in this particular case, by supporting people who are only interested in staying in power and maintaining the status quo, we are being our own worst enemies. That point cannot be overemphasized. Thank you very much, those of you who were able to join us this evening, and I hope you'll be able to do it again in future. It's 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time on this very platform. Thank you very much, Ben.
Thank you.